I made over 100 sales in 30 days selling one digital product. Never sold digital product outside of my book before. I was switching from high ticket to low ticket. And I want to show you how I did it. How was I was able to sell digital products. And the reason why I want to do this video is because there's so many people that are already doing videos on how to sell digital product. But what makes this video different, there are so many people who are so advanced and talking about the big claim that they have done and the amount of money they have done. So it's good to hear from someone who's 30 days in and how they are experiencing and how they were able to sell it. And I know we are also in a trusted market. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of share my screen with you right now. So I ran ads to this product. This is my buyer ready messaging matrix product. We sold 121 and we were getting $21.31 per purchase with this particular let me bring it over here so you can see a little bit better. With this particular product, this is the only product we have on the front end, and that's how the power of learning how to sell a digital product. That's how we were getting $21 per lead coming in. So if I who has never sold digital product can do it, you can do it too with these three steps that I'm going to get ready to go over with you. As I said before, I am wanted to show you this because everything else I saw online, they were making these big claims and I'm like, oh my God, can is there anything for beginners? Is there anything for the little people who are just starting out? So I want to be able to show you as I go because I'm a little bit, maybe a little bit in front of you. These are for the people think about running creating a digital product, or maybe you are in the high ticket space and you want to shift to digital product and you just don't know how it works. This video is for you. So I'm going to dive right in right now because we don't have time for fluff. We go right in and get it done, baby. So if you're new to my space, I love to share my iPad demo with you. So how do you create a digital product online? So number one, of course, you need a product. you need some type of you need some type of product to sell, right? And number two, you need a way for people to get the product from you. So you need some type of sales page or a checkout page. And I'm going to talk about that later, what that looks like. And number three, you need a way for people to see your product. So of course you need traffic. And I'm going to go over that in detail from a beginner friendly standpoint. All right, so let's talk about number one. Step one is what is the product you need. Now, one thing I specialize in is num- I am going to say I'm favoring mini courses because mini courses, number one, showcase you as the expert. So mini courses are really good. I know you can use like different things like a PDF and PDF bundles and all that stuff. But why I love mini courses for me is people get to see you, the person, the expert who is teaching this thing, and it position you as an authority. So that's why I highly recommend if you're going to do a product, you get the mini course. Not to mention, because again, we're in a trusted market, people are more like, I am not sure who I'm giving this money to after they pay you. So when they go into your mini course, they say, hey, you're a real person, right? So it lowers the trust value right there and kind of let you in. So I'm going to favor and said, if you should do a product, a mini course is definitely what you should do when it comes to creating a product. You can also do a PDF, but right now, but when you think about a PDF, um, think about the PDF having lots of things on it. This is where I always say check your Google, right? Your Google Docs. Look, I say this a lot, but check your Google Docs for the PDF because you don't want to just give them one sheet of a PDF and then pay them $17, right? And on top of that, your mini course, after you build out your course, more than likely will have some type of PDF in it, right? So I'm gonna always say if I should choose, go with a mini course. And a mini course would be just probably having like 8 videos, mini videos inside of there, right? Not a lot, just enough to get the step-by-step information that you need. The mini course that I'm talking about may start between 17 and or $97. So that's where I started off. I start off as a beginner. I start off selling my mini course in the buyer ready messaging vault. I start off selling my course for $17 because, and the reason why I sell it for $17 versus selling it for more, because I wanted to make sure that price was not a situation. So if I was struggling to sell that course before I sold 121, if I was struggling, I would be like, okay, I need my price is too high. So if it's easy to go, it's easy to come up with your price if you're having a lot of sales than it is to come down with your price. So now, and then as we started going up with our sale, we increased our price, but we weren't going to increase our price till we know the actual price work. Does that make sense? So one of the things that I've learned in this space is it's easier to go up in price than it is to go back down in price. So I wanted to make sure price was not an issue when I was selling my course. So that's why we start off with like the lowest amount. Now, the reason most people said, hey, start with, if you're going to do a PDF, let's say you do a PDF and you do $5 plus you have bonuses in that PDF. That's also great. But here's the other thing too. The whole purpose of a digital product is for you to be able to offset the cost of your ads by having these digital products. So when you start off so low, what happens is you end up, in my opinion, sometimes may lose money unless you have some upsells into that. But that's a different video for a whole other different time. So step one is getting clear on what a product is. And again, I highly recommend doing a mini course. And if you want to know like what to go inside of our course, we have we have a the next move that kind of help you with that, a community that helps you with that. Okay, moving forward. So I decided on a mini course, and I wanted to figure out like how do I, after I get the mini course, I'm like, okay, the course is done. It's packed with value, and you want to make sure that the value is so good to where people are like, listen, oh my God, like if this is 17, what else does this person have? Right? Now, this is not where you do your signature course, your robust signature course. I have another video that talks about how to go from taking your signature course and put it down to a smaller course. And it's a video before this one, so you can check that out. But the idea here is, what is a quick win that a person can get from your results? Inside our buyer ready messaging matrix, we teach you how to talk to cold buyers and get them to say yes within 72 hours, right? So we're hyper specific. We'll teach you how to talk to cold buyers, get them to say yes within 72 hours within your using your content. So we are hyper specific on what the content framework need to look like from a copyright standpoint and from a messaging standpoint. So we are really, again, hyper specific on that. So now that you have your product, the next thing you need, as we stated before, is a sales page. And now let me talk some things about sales page. When you're having a sales page, that the sales pages that you may need, let's talk. I am really big on teaching you how to talk to co-buyers. That's my strength. So let me say this. A co-buyer who doesn't know you, is okay for them to have, they need a structural sales page. They need a sales page that has the psychological framework of what to say to a co-buyer who doesn't know you. So you can't just throw up a checkout page and say that's enough to a co-buyer. You have to make sure that if your traffic, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, is going to co-buyers, they need the whole shebang. They need the whole shebang. They need to know the who, what, where, when, why. Why should they buy from you? What's this? Who is it for? They need the entire thing. And that's one of why we start off with our buyer ready messaging matrix, because that is what you put on your sales page. So your sales page, if it's going to cold, you need a long form sales page, because you have to, it allows you to get rid of any objection that co-buyer may have when they're talking about working with you. So you need a long form you need a long form sales page. So when you have that long form sales page, you answer any questions because you're typically not around to answer those questions for them. So you need like some type of long form. So again, we're talking about how to create a digital product to sell online. And if you're talking to cold buyers, you need a sales page. If you're talking to warm buyers, these are people who are on your email list that are also on your Instagram followers, in your stories. Though that area is for more of your warm buyers. So your sales long form page goes to your cold buyers, your checkout page go to your warm buyers. So what I did, because I wanted to cut down on my conversion, I put both of them together. But I think if I had to do it again, I would have separate my sales page to my checkout page. I probably would have separate that. So again, your sales become, but I had the intentions of really talking to co-buyers. So in the beginning, I just created one long form sales page, and then and have the checkout page embed on the same page, because I didn't click into another page sometimes cut your conversion. So now we are going back and creating just a simple checkout page for our people who are on our Instagram page, and for you who are on YouTube with us. We create that checkout page because it's talking to warm people who binge watch our product that don't need to be sold because they already watched our videos and so on and so forth. So you got to ask yourself, what would you do in your situation? Are you going to cold buyers, or are you making this for warm buyers? I would suggest that you create that long form sales page, that long one, and then on the second page you just have a checkout. So you just have your checkout page. So they'll have a bar that they click, and that bar takes them to a checkout page. That's what I would suggest when it comes to your sales page. So now you have two, right? So and then check the data, because I believe in data over drama, of how many people are coming to your sales page every day, right? Come into to your sales page. Again, data over drama. All right, so you have your product, you have your sales page, and you're creating a sales page to talk to warm or cold buyers, and then of course you have your main thing, which is your traffic. So you have your traffic. So number three is your traffic, because you can have a product, nobody know about your product, and you can have your sales page built out, but if there's nobody coming to your website, what does it matter? I was talking to someone the other day, and they were just telling me about all the stuff that they need to put on their website, and their website is not up, and all this stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, the energy that you're spending trying to talk about this website, you need traffic coming to the website for people to say yes. Like, only way I knew how to create my traffic is how do I know my sales page is working, is based on the traffic that was coming in. So the traffic tells me if I need to have a stronger headline on my sales page, if I what I need to change for my headline. So if the traffic slowed down or if something else happened, but you need the data in order to make the changes. So that's why traffic is so important, because when I think about generating uh, leads or anything in that nature, you have to execute and do the work first, and then make changes as you go. All right, so let's talk about the traffic really quick. The traffic can be organic traffic, and or it can be paid traffic. And in this case, my paid traffic was I ran ads to it. And I also want to say, if you're just starting out and you're like, Sherry, I don't have ad spend, go ahead and run organic traffic to it and just see if someone will buy, see if someone will purchase it. Because just one indication of that, of someone saying yes, is clear enough for you to know that this thing work, and you're validating it that it works. So when you're creating a digital product, is the actual product, the sales page, and the traffic. Those are the three simple things that you need to get that product out and out into the world so you can start changing people's lives. Now, here's what all three of these have in common. Whether you're creating your product, whether you're creating your product, whether you're creating your sales page or checkout page, or you're creating the traffic that gets you there, here's the number one thing you need in order for it to sell fast. I pause for the cause. You need to make sure that your message is dialed in. I don't care how beautiful your sales page is. I don't care how glamorous it looks. If your message is not dialed in other words, if it's not in this sales psychological conversation, you need the right message to talk to people, strangers who do not know you, because that's who keep your customer leads coming in. That's how your leads keep coming in. So if when you speak, your message is not resonating with you, it's not resonating with them, then they won't say yes, especially because they don't know you. Now, how did I get 121 people to say yes to this offer? Is because my message of what I was saying, it was built under buyer ready message and belief system that we built inside of our content, inside of our traffic, inside of our sales page. And so therefore, if when you're talking about creating digital product, if I can say anything to you, you need a buyer ready messaging vault. You need that matrix. And we have the matrix that we use in all our content. When we're writing an email, when we are creating a caption on Instagram, when we're doing our sales page, that buyer ready message is needed to speak to those buyers, because there are different type of buyers, and I do a whole video on that on a different day. But the idea I want you to understand is your the message is the key to getting people to say yes to you. And it's not the typical message like when you are in when I came, from I also was speaking in college as a professor, so I came from that corporate college speaking space. But what opened my eyes up the most, what changed my life, is understanding sales psychology, how to sell my offer from a sales psychology, how to speak to the problem the buyer is having, how to understand their awareness of what they're having. So if that's something you're saying, Sherry, I'm missing that. I feel like my words are not connecting when I speak. I feel like my sales pitch is a bit vague and it's not talking to the person who I want to buy. Or when they get on a call with you, they're not a good fit. I would 100% suggest grabbing the buyer ready messaging matrix, because that will help you with that as well. Now, finally, with that being said, how do you know when your message is dialing? I'm going to spend too much time on that because I have a whole video on that already. But how do you know when your message is dialed in? Is when you're getting sales. Sales is the number one indication that I have seen so many people change so many things on their images on their sales page, and throw out ads because they felt like it wasn't working, when truth is all they needed to do was just fix their message of who they're talking to, and all they needed to do was just switch the header. So when you're creating these three things, you're creating your product, you're creating your sales page, and you're driving traffic. No matter which one of these three you're doing, you will need a sales messaging system that do the heavy lifting for you. Because if your product is super clear, then guess what? It's less work you have to do on the back end, and it's less convincing you have to do. All right, so that's all I got for you today. I want you to join me on my next video where we talk more about how to create your first digital product that drives you to your first 10K sales. All right. Talk to you later.